The sound of their laughter cuts through the elegant hotel lobby like shattered glass. I 45F, stand frozen behind a marble pillar at the Grand, my designer handbag suddenly feeling like a lead weight against my arm. My husband's voice rises above the others, carried on a wave of conspiratorial mirth. Mom's right, it's better this way. Brielle would just make everything complicated. I press my palm against the cool marble, steadying myself. My name is Brielle, and I've just discovered I'm not invited to my own family's vacation, the vacation I'm paying for. The Louis Vuitton suitcase I'd packed sits abandoned in my car, filled with carefully chosen outfits and thoughtful gifts for everyone, including my nephew Nate's 10M favorite comic books. Iron Man and Spider-Man, we spent hours at the comic store last weekend, picking them out together. He'd been talking about this family vacation for weeks, planning all the activities we'd do together. She's always trying so hard, Lindsay 46F, my sister-in-law, chimes in. It's exhausting watching her attempt to fit in. My mother-in-law Marilyn's 65F response is swift and cutting. Well, new money always shows, though I must say her generosity has its uses. They laugh again, the sound echoing off the vaulted ceiling. I watch them through the reflecting pool of the fountain, their images rippling and distorting. Ryan, 43M, my husband of 3 years, stands slightly apart from the group, hands in his pockets. He doesn't defend me. He never does. 18 years ago, when I started my tech company in a tiny apartment with nothing but determination and a laptop held together with duct tape, I never imagined this would be my life. I just aged out of the foster care system, working 3 jobs to put myself through college. My parents' deaths when I was 12 had left me with nothing but their life insurance, barely enough to cover the funeral costs and my basic needs until I turned 18. But I had a vision. Technology was transforming healthcare, and I saw a gap in the market for patient data management systems. Working through nights, weekends, holidays, I built my first prototype. The breakthrough came when a major hospital agreed to pilot the system. Now, my company's software is used in hospitals across the country, managing millions of patient records securely and efficiently. Did you tell her you had a work emergency? Marilyn asks, pulling me back to the present.
Yeah,
Ryan replies, scratching the back of his neck, his tell when he's lying. She bought it. Said she'd wire the money for the rooms today. My fingers move to my phone, muscle memory already pulling up the banking app. Then I stop. The realization hits me like a physical blow. I've been doing this for years, supporting them, funding their lifestyle, desperately trying to buy my way into a family that sees me as nothing more than an ATM with an unfortunate personality. Last month alone, I covered $50,000 in emergencies. Marilyn's roof repair, which mysteriously never happened, Lindsay's husband's new golf clubs, because he was depressed, Nate's private school tuition, the only expense I don't regret, and countless dinners, shopping trips, and country club fees. The country club where Marilyn tells everyone she's my silent partner, that she mentored me in business. The same country club where she cornered me last week, insisting I invest in her friend's son's revolutionary startup. Excuse me, madam. A hotel staff member approaches. Can I help you with anything? I straighten up, forcing a smile. Yes, actually. I need to speak with your manager about some reservation changes. The staff member nods, gesturing toward the front desk. As I walk past my husband and his family, none of them notice me. They're too busy planning their week of luxury on my dime. At the desk, I meet the manager's eyes. The Carter party reservation. I need to make some adjustments. Of course, Mrs. Carter. What can I do for you? I'd like to move my reservation to the presidential suite. I pause, letting the weight of my next words settle. And I need to cancel the other rooms. Immediately. The manager's fingers hover over the keyboard. All 5 rooms? Yes. And please ensure my name is flagged as the only authorized payment source for any charges to those rooms. As I complete the changes, I hear Marilyn's voice rising in indignation at the other end of the lobby. The front desk must have notified them already. I don't turn around. Will you be checking in now, Mrs. Carter? I shake my head, picking up my new key card. No, I'll return this evening. but first, I have some shopping to do. My voice sounds strange to my own ears, calmer than I feel, with an edge I've never heard before. Walking out of the hotel, I hear Ryan calling my name. I don't stop. The summer air hits my face, and for the first time in years, I feel like I can breathe. My phone buzzes continuously in my bag, Ryan, Marilyn, Lindsay, all demanding explanations. I slide into my car and finally check one message. It's from Nate. Aunt Belle, where are you? I miss you. The nickname takes me back to last Christmas. I'd found him crying in the library during one of Marilyn's lavish parties. The other kids had been making fun of him for reading comics instead of playing the latest video games. So I sat with him, sharing stories about how I used to escape into comic books during my foster care years. We spent the rest of the evening creating our own superhero story, Captain Bell and the Amazing Nate. Those precious hours were worth every penny I'd spent on that party. My throat tightens. I type back, I'll see you soon, buddy. I promise. Then I block everyone else's numbers and pull away from the curb. Opening my laptop in the car, I start reviewing bank statements. The numbers tell a story of systematic exploitation. 3 years of emergency payments, each one meticulously documented in my records. $20,000 for Lindsay's husband's business venture that mysteriously failed. $15,000 for Marilyn's medical bills, which the hospital has no record of. $10,000 for Ryan's career coaching program he never attended. Monthly allowances that somehow kept increasing. Country club memberships, luxury car payments, spa treatments, shopping sprees. They wanted a vacation without me? Fine. Let's see how they enjoy it without my money instead. I spend 3 hours driving aimlessly, passing landmarks that mock me with memories. The restaurant where Ryan proposed, now tainted by the knowledge that Marilyn had orchestrated the entire evening, down to the ring she'd selected, and I'd unknowingly paid for. The country club where she'd introduced me to her friends as of our dear Brielle, so generous with her success, which we guided her to achieve, of course. Finally, I pull into Oliver's driveway. He, at 45M, takes one look at my face and wordlessly leads me to his back porch, returning with 2 glasses of whiskey. The ice cubes clink against the crystal as my hands shake. They planned it for weeks, I say, staring at the manicured lawn. Weeks of lying to my face, laughing behind my back, and I just kept writing checks. Oliver leans back in his chair, his silence more comforting than any platitudes. We've known each other since we were kids in foster care. He remembers the nights I cried myself to sleep, missing my parents. The determination that drove me to start my company. The lonely years of building something from nothing. My phone lights up again, Ryan's 20th call. This time he leaves a voicemail. I put it on speaker, Bree, baby, please. Mom's hysterical. The hotel's threatening to call security. Just talk to me. We can fix this. Oliver snorts. Funny how fixing this only matters when the money stops flowing. Before I can respond, my phone chimes with a text from Lindsay. How dare you embarrass us like this after everything we've done for you? Everything they've done for me? My laugh sounds hollow. Last month alone, I'd written checks totaling over $100,000. The tuition for Nate's private school, $35,000. Marilyn's mysterious emergency home repairs, $25,000. Lindsay's husband's latest business investment, $40,000. Not to mention the countless smaller expenses, spa days, designer clothes, golf club memberships. And Ryan? Ryan hasn't held a job longer than 6 months since we got married. 3 years of finding himself while living off my success. The success I built from nothing, working 80-hour weeks, sacrificing everything to make my company what it is today. Last week at the country club, I overheard Marilyn telling her friends how she'd mentored me in business. How she'd seen the potential in my little healthcare software company and guided it to success. The same company I'd built while living on ramen noodles in a studio apartment, coding until my eyes burned. My phone buzzes again. This time it's Marilyn. I've never been so humiliated. Is this how you repay family? Family. I whisper the word, bitter on my tongue. Last month at the charity gala, another event I'd funded, Marilyn had introduced me to the board members of her favorite charity. "This is my daughter-in-law," she'd said, her voice dripping with false warmth. "She's been so blessed by our family's guidance. We took quite a risk, accepting someone of her background. I remember Nate's birthday party 2 months ago. I'd spent weeks planning it, hiring his favorite comic book artists to create personalized artwork. Marilyn had swept in, taking credit for the entire event. We have to make up for her lack of social understanding, she told the other parents. Oliver's expression darkens. And you stayed? I thought. I press my palms against my eyes. I thought if I tried hard enough, gave enough, they'd eventually see me. Really see me. God, I'm such an idiot. You're not an idiot. You're someone who lost her parents too young and wanted a family. They're the ones who took advantage of that." A new message appears from Nate's phone, but clearly typed by Lindsay. "Nate's crying because of you. Hope you're happy." Something snaps inside me. I stand up, pacing the porch. 3 years. 3 years of bending over backward, of smiling through their snide comments about my new money status. 3 years of watching Ryan choose them over me every single time. 3 years of funding their lifestyle while they mocked my attempts to belong. The country club memberships, the luxury cars, the endless shopping sprees, all while they laughed behind my back. The emergency funds that somehow always coincided with Marilyn's casino visits. The business investments that mysteriously disappeared into Lindsay's husband's gambling debts. So what are you going to do about it? I stop pacing, my mind suddenly clear. First, I'm calling my lawyer. Then my accountant. I need to know exactly how much of my money they've burned through. And Ryan. I drain my glass. Ryan made his choice in that hotel lobby. Now I'm making mine. Oliver studies me for a moment. They'll try to paint you as the villain, the cold-hearted rich woman who abandoned her loving family. Let them try. I pull out my phone and start typing. I've kept every receipt, every text message begging for money, every email about their latest emergency. 3 years of documentation showing exactly how loving they've been. I think about the last board meeting at my company. Marilyn had somehow convinced several members that she was my silent partner, my mentor in the business world. She'd been spreading rumors about my mental stability and suggesting that my troubled background made me unfit for leadership. All while using the company credit card I'd given her for emergencies at high-end boutiques and casinos. I remember the day I hired a financial advisor, someone outside the family's influence. His face when he saw the numbers, the systematic drainage of my resources, the pattern of escalating demands. "Mrs. Carter," he'd said carefully, "this isn't support. This is exploitation." A car pulls into Oliver's driveway, Ryan's BMW. The one I bought him for his birthday last year, after he complained that his perfectly good Audi was embarrassing at the country club. "How did he find me?" "Probably tracked your phone," Oliver says, standing. "Want me to tell him to leave?" I watch Ryan step out of the car, his familiar nervous gesture of running his hand through his hair. For a moment, I see the man I fell in love with, or thought I fell in love with. The charming man who swept me off my feet at that charity gala, who made me believe I'd finally found the family I'd been missing since I was 12. Then I remember his laughter in the hotel lobby. His voice joining in as they mocked my attempts to belong. His silence every time Marilyn belittled me at family gatherings. His constant demands for more money, more status, more proof of my devotion to a family that never accepted me. "No," I say, straightening my spine. "I think it's time I stopped letting other people fight my battles." "Want me to stay?" "Yes." I squeeze his hand. "But let me handle this." Ryan approaches the porch, his face a mask of practiced concern. "Bree, baby, you're not thinking clearly." I cut him off. "Actually, Ryan, for the first time in 3 years, I'm thinking very clearly. Now, would you like to explain why you lied about the vacation, or should we start with how much money you've borrowed from my company account?" His face goes pale. Checkmate. The numbers on my laptop screen are damning, hundreds of thousands of dollars funneled into their lifestyle, their emergencies, their endless demands. But it's not about the money. It never was. It was about belonging, about family, about acceptance that was never really offered, only dangled like bait to keep the checks flowing. Well, the flow stops now. And as I watch the color drain from Ryan's face, I realize I'm finally ready to show them exactly what the new money girl from the foster system can do when she stops trying to buy love and starts demanding respect instead. Update 1, I'm following up with what happened after confronting my husband at Oliver's house. What I discovered was far worse than I imagined. The numbers on my laptop screen blur together as I scroll through years of bank statements. Each transaction tells a story not of family bonds, but of calculated exploitation. My accountant's email sits open in another tab, its content still making my stomach churn. Did you know, I ask Ryan, who sits across my home office with his head in his hands, about your mother's gambling? He doesn't answer. The silence stretches between us like a chasm. $40,000, Ryan. That's how much she's lost at Riverbend Casino in the past year alone, using the credit card I gave her for emergencies. She said it was for medical bills, he mumbles. I laugh, the sound sharp enough to make him flinch. And the $20,000 she transferred to Lindsay's account last month, was that for medical bills too? Lindsay's marriage is falling apart. Her husband lost their savings on bad investments. No, I cut him off. He lost my money on his latest scheme. Which your sister knew about when she came begging for help with Nate's tuition. My phone buzzes, a text from Marilyn, we need to talk about this misunderstanding, dear, over lunch at LeBlanc tomorrow? LeBlanc. The same restaurant where she'd introduced me to her country club friends as Ryan's wife, you know, the one with the tech money. Where she'd later cornered me about investing in her friend's son's startup. You don't understand, Ryan starts. Mom's always. Always what? Always manipulated people? Always used others to maintain her illusion of wealth? I stand up, pacing. Did you know she told her friends that she bought me my company as a wedding gift? That she's my silent partner? Ryan's head snaps up. She wouldn't. Check your phone. I'm sure someone's already forwarded you the country club newsletter. There's a lovely article about the generous Marilyn Carter mentoring her daughter-in-law in business. He pulls out his phone, his face draining of color as he reads. I'll talk to her, make her retract it. Like you talked to her about the vacation? Or about using my company's credit line for her shopping spree? I stop pacing, facing him directly. When exactly do you plan to start standing up to her, Ryan? A knock at the door interrupts us. Through the glass panel, I see Lindsay, her mascara streaked with tears. Perfect timing, as always. Don't, Ryan warns as I move to open the door. But I do anyway. Lindsay bursts in, waving her phone. The bank froze our accounts. How could you do this to us? I froze the accounts I was paying for, I correct her. Your personal accounts are your business. Nate's tuition payment is due next week. Funny you should mention that. I turn back to my laptop, pulling up another document. I was just reviewing the wire transfers. Did you know your mother's been redirecting Nate's tuition money to her personal account? The school hasn't received a payment in months. The silence that follows is deafening. Lindsay sinks into a chair, her face ashen. Ryan stands so abruptly his chair topples backward. That's impossible, he whispers. Mom wouldn't. The same mom who's been telling everyone she owns my company? The same mom who's been losing thousands at casinos while crying about medical bills? I turn the laptop around. Look at the transfers yourself. As they lean in to read, my phone buzzes again. This time it's Oliver, documents you requested are ready. Want me to send them to your lawyer? I type back a quick yes, just as Lindsay lets out a choked sob. What are we going to do, she asks, her voice small. We? I echo. There is no we anymore. You made that clear at the hotel. But Nate. I'll pay Nate's tuition directly to the school, I cut in. He shouldn't suffer for the adult's mistakes. But everything else stops now. Ryan reaches for my hand. I step back. Bree, please. We can fix this as a family. I look at him, really look at him, and feel nothing but tired. That's the problem, Ryan. We were never really a family. I was just the bank account you all married into. My phone buzzes one final time. Marilyn again, don't make me tell people the truth about where you really came from, dear. Family protects family. I show the message to Ryan and Lindsay. Their faces tell me everything I need to know about whose side they'll choose. Get out, I say quietly. Both of you. And tell your mother that if she wants to play with truth, I have 3 years of receipts ready for show and tell. Update 2, my mother's embroidery hoop sits in my lap, threads tangled like the mess of my life. The familiar weight of it grounds me as I sit in my home office, surrounded by financial documents and divorce papers. 3 weeks have passed since the hotel incident, and the threads of my marriage continue to unravel. A knock at the door makes me jump. Through the window, I see Nate shifting from foot to foot on my porch, his backpack clutched to his chest. It's a school day, he shouldn't be here. Shouldn't you be in school? I ask as I open the door. Mom and Dad are fighting again, his voice is small. Grandma's there too. They're all yelling about money, and it's scary. My heart twists. I usher him inside, noting how his shoulders relax once he's in my kitchen. While I make hot chocolate, he pulls out his homework, falling into our old routine as if nothing has changed. Aunt Brielle? He doesn't look up from his math worksheet. Are you really not coming to my baseball game tomorrow? The mug nearly slips from my hand. Who told you that? Grandma. She said you don't want to be part of our family anymore. Before I can respond, my phone lights up with a text from Oliver, check your email now. 1 second, buddy, I tell Nate, stepping into the hallway to read the email. My blood runs cold. Oliver's team has uncovered a second mortgage on my house, taken out 6 months ago with forged signatures. The money trail leads straight to Marilyn's personal account. Another text from Oliver, police want to know if you're pressing charges. My hands shake as I type back, give me an hour. When I return to the kitchen, Nate is staring at my mother's embroidery hoop. This is pretty. Can you teach me? Of course. I sit beside him, grateful for the distraction. My mom taught me when I was your age. Said it helped her think clearly when life got messy. Like now? Yeah, like now. I guide his hands through a simple stitch. I heard Grandma telling Mom that if you went to the police, she'd tell everyone about the orphanage, he says quietly. That it would ruin your business. The doorbell rings before I can process this. Through the window, I see Lindsay's car in my driveway. Nate, she calls out. Get out here right now. He clutches the embroidery hoop. Please don't make me go. Nathan Carter. Lindsay pounds on the door. Mom's worried sick. How dare you run away like this? I open the door but block the entrance. He didn't run away. He came to the one place he feels safe. Safe? Lindsay's laugh is brittle. You destroyed our family, and you dare talk about safety? I discovered the fraud, Lindsay. The second mortgage, the forged documents. I watch her face pale. Did you know about that too? Mom said it was temporary. Just until Dad's investments paid off. Stop. I hold up my hand. Just stop. I'm done with the lies. I turn to Nate, who's watching us with wide eyes. Buddy, you should go with your mom now. He hands me the embroidery hoop reluctantly. Will I still see you? Of course you will, Lindsay cuts in, but stops when she realizes how childish she's being. No, I interrupt. I'll be at your game tomorrow, Nate. Front row. And after that, we'll figure something out. I promise. After they leave, I pick up my phone and dial Oliver's number. You okay? He asks. They're using Nate as a pawn. I trace my mother's stitches with my finger. And now Marilyn's threatening to expose my background if I go to the police. She's bluffing. Your company's success has nothing to do with where you came from. Maybe not. I take a deep breath. But I need to end this my way. What are you thinking? I look at the embroidery hoop, at the intricate pattern my mother created one stitch at a time. I'm thinking it's time to stop trying to protect people who never tried to protect me. And Nate? I'll protect him by showing him that actions have consequences. Even family's actions. I pause. Send the evidence to the police. All of it. You sure? Yes. I pick up my needle. It's time to finish this pattern. Update 3, the police statement sits unsigned on my desk when Ryan shows up at my door clutching a bouquet of roses and wearing his most apologetic smile. Happy birthday, baby. Let me take you to dinner. I almost laugh at the absurdity. My 33rd birthday, and he remembers it only after his mother's arrest, makes the local news. The roses are nice, I say, not opening the door fully. Did your mother pay for them with my credit card too? His smile falters. Bree, please. Mom's lawyer says if you drop the charges. Stop. I hold up my hand. Just stop. He pulls out a hotel reservation confirmation. I booked us the presidential suite at the Grand. Just us this time. No family drama. The same hotel where this all started. My phone buzzes, another message from Marilyn's lawyer, no doubt trying to negotiate. I've received 15 calls today alone. Come on, Ryan pleads. Remember our first anniversary there? How perfect it was. I do remember. I also remember finding out later that he'd invited his mother to join us for dinner that night, and I'd only avoided that surprise because she'd had a last-minute spa appointment, paid for with my card, of course. Your mother's facing fraud charges, Ryan. Real ones with real consequences. She made a mistake. We all did. But we're family. Family? I pull out my phone, scrolling through messages. Like when Lindsay told the country club I was investigated for embezzlement. Or when your mother tried to convince my board of directors that I was mentally unstable? They're scared. You've taken everything. I took back what was mine, my voice doesn't shake anymore when I say this. There's a difference. He steps closer, his cologne familiar and dangerous. One dinner. Let me explain everything. Before I can respond, a car pulls into my driveway. Oliver steps out holding a manila envelope, his face grim. Perfect timing, I say, stepping back from Ryan. Come in, Oliver. Ryan's expression darkens. Him? Really? On our birthday dinner night? Your mother's birthday gift arrived early, Oliver says, handing me the envelope. Thought you should see it right away. Inside are screenshots from a private investigator, photos of my childhood foster homes, medical records, court documents about my parents' death, all annotated in Marilyn's elegant handwriting. Too traumatized for business leadership, history of family instability, potential PR nightmare, she'd written. She was going to send these to your shareholders next week, Oliver explains. Along with some creative interpretations of your company's financials. Ryan grabs the papers. She wouldn't. She was just protecting herself. From what? I ask quietly. From the orphan who gave her everything she asked for. Who funded her lifestyle? Who tried so desperately to be the daughter she wanted? If you just drop the charges. Get out. The words come easily now. Both of you. Oliver raises an eyebrow but nods understanding as he leaves. Ryan makes one last attempt. The hotel reservation, our anniversary suite, is as empty as every promise you've ever made. I hand him back the roses. Give these to your mother. I'm sure she'll appreciate the gesture, especially since she probably paid for them. Bree. I signed the divorce papers this morning. I step back inside. Happy birthday to me. I close the door on his protests and lean against it, listening to his footsteps fade. My phone buzzes again, a text from Nate. Happy birthday, Aunt Brielle. Mom says I can't come over, but I made you something in art class. Attached is a photo of a crayon drawing, me teaching him embroidery, both of us smiling. In wobbly letters across the top, real family. I look at my mother's embroidery hoop, then at Marilyn's annotated investigation photos. 3 years of trying to buy love, of attempting to stitch together a family that was already rotted at the seams. I pick up the unsigned police statement. There's a certain poetry to it, Marilyn trying to use my past against me, not realizing that surviving that past is what finally gives me the strength to do this. I sign my name with steady hands. Some patterns, I've learned, aren't worth completing. Thank you all for your support and advice. Sometimes you need to stop trying to buy love and start demanding respect instead. You helped me see that.